Let's go Ravens! What if I told you the Baltimore Ravens are secretly preparing to shock the entire NFL? That, behind closed doors, something is brewing, something that could turn this disastrous season around and shock the league. The media isn't talking about it. Most fans haven't even noticed yet. But there's a single move, a quiet decision, that could be the biggest clue of all. And no, it's not what you think. It's not a player they added, but one they didn't. But before we dive into this bombshell, be sure to like this if you're a true Ravens fan. It's always amazing to see fans of all ages cheering for this team. And if you'd like, comment, "Go, Ravens," to show that, no matter how tough the road gets, you're still riding with the pack. Let's get to the full story. Earlier this week, the Washington Commanders signed pass rusher Drake Jackson. Why does this matter to Ravens fans? Well, just days before that signing, the Ravens brought in Jackson for a visit. He's a former second-round pick from the 49ers, and when healthy, he's shown real flashes of impact potential. So naturally, when fans saw he was visiting the team, the assumption was that Baltimore would strike, especially considering their dire need for pass rush help. With Odafoe already out, and Tavius Robinson sidelined for a month or more, it seemed like a no-brainer. But the Ravens passed. The Commanders scooped him up instead. And here's where things take an unexpected turn. For once, Ravens fans are actually encouraged by what feels like a missed opportunity. Why? Because it might signal a shift in strategy. Instead of rolling the dice on another injured, high-risk, low-cost project player, like they've done in the past with guys like David Ohabo or Andrew Voorhees, the Ravens may finally be preparing to swing bigger. Drake Jackson looked like classic Ravens rehab potential, and they walked away. That might be the best sign yet that something different is brewing. Let's be honest, this team has earned a reputation for playing it safe in free agency and the trade market. They're always hunting for bargains, talented guys with injury histories or declining stock that they hope can produce under the right conditions. It's a Moneyball approach that occasionally pays off, but more often than not, it leaves this team a step behind. When those gambles don't hit, they're stuck. And this year, they're not just stuck, they're buried. And yet, hope persists, because Lamar Jackson is expected back. Because the defense, for all its inconsistency, held the Rams to just 17 points in the last outing, a Rams team that can put points on the board when they're clicking. And Kyle Hamilton? He's returning to his role as a true disruptor, playing near the line of scrimmage, looking like the unicorn we all know he can be. There's a real sense that if the team leans into their strengths and stops settling for safe moves, they could change the trajectory of this season. The team needs bold action. A defensive lineman or elite edge rusher with real juice, not another experiment. Someone who can get to the quarterback now. Someone who can generate pressure without blitzing half the secondary. Because make no mistake, the pass rush has been virtually non-existent. And if this team wants any shot at clawing its way out of the 1-5 grave they've dug, they need help. There's also pressure on the offensive line. Lamar Jackson, even as the league's most elusive quarterback, has been sacked at an alarming rate. And that's without playing in the last 2 games. That stat alone should have Eric DeCosta on the phone around the clock. Reinforcements are needed, urgently. The fan base feels it too. Someone to tear it all down and look toward a high draft pick. Others believe this team still has a magical run left in them. After all, the 2012 Ravens weren't favorites heading into the postseason either. And look how that turned out. One fan, clearly fed up with the negativity, even predicted the greatest turnaround in NFL history, culminating in another Super Bowl run and Harbaugh retiring on top. It's a dream, sure, but crazier things have happened in this league. What's clear is this: the fans haven't lost passion. They're frustrated, but they care deeply. They remember the days when leaders on defense like Ray Lewis and Ed Reed set the tone. Now, there's concern that guys like Roquan Smith haven't stepped up into that same role. There's real criticism of the soft culture and the feeling that this team lacks that same fire, what one fan called that dog. And they miss C.J. Gardner-Johnson already, even though he was only on the team for a week. That's how hungry this fan base is for players who bring accountability and toughness. Instead, they're watching a team with talent on paper look disjointed, underwhelming, and painfully inconsistent on the field. Because here's the thing, hope may be thin, but it's not gone. And it only takes one move to shift the entire narrative. This fan base knows it. They've lived it. The 2012 Ravens were counted out. So were the 2000 Ravens. Every time this team has tasted ultimate success, it's come off the back of adversity. But the key difference between history and the present? Action. Real, aggressive, fearless action. And that's exactly what fans are begging for from the front office right now. And not just action for the sake of headlines. Fans want impact. They're watching other teams make moves while Baltimore hesitates. They're watching a front office flirt with possibilities, bring players in for visits, but never close the deal. And it's infuriating, because the needs are obvious. The flaws are exposed. and the stakes are higher than they've ever been. If this team goes down, it can't be because they sat on their hands at the trade deadline and hoped Lamar would fix everything alone. Even now, some fans still believe, not because of what they've seen on the field, but because of what they know is possible. But time is running out, and this isn't just about surviving 2025. It's about keeping the faith in a regime that's been here for over a decade. Because patience is wearing thin, not just with players, but with John Harbaugh himself. That question's starting to bubble up again, louder than ever. If the Ravens lose to the Bears at home, after the bye week, *with Lamar Jackson back on the field, how do you justify keeping Harbaugh in charge? One fan put it plainly, that's a fireable offense. And while it's unlikely to happen, the fact that it's being talked about this openly should send shockwaves through the organization. These aren't just overreactions. They're a reflection of how much faith is on the line with every snap. And what about the backup quarterback situation? That's been another sore spot. Fans are baffled by the team's decision to run with someone like Cooper Rush, who shares zero similarities with Lamar Jackson, instead of developing Malik Cunningham, who at least brought a similar skill set. That decision, to many, has made the offense one-dimensional, predictable, and broken. And while it's easy to blame individual players, it's clear the systemic issues go deeper. Cunningham was used as a receiver and punt returner instead of being groomed as a true QB option. Then Detroit picked him up just in time to help them prepare for Lamar Jackson. Brilliant move on their part. Meanwhile, Baltimore missed an opportunity yet again. Speaking of missed opportunities, let's talk about Keaton Mitchell. Fans have been screaming from the rooftops for him to be featured more. He's explosive. He's a home run threat every time he touches the ball. And yet, he's barely used. Injury excuses are long gone. He's healthy, but he's still not part of the core game plan. That's not a personnel issue. That's coaching. That's malpractice. And it's part of a bigger concern. There's a growing belief that Harbaugh is scared of players with edge, guys who bring fire and passion and aren't afraid to challenge authority. The kind of guys who used to define the Baltimore Ravens. Marcus Peters, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, leaders, tone setters, dogs, and now they're gone, cut loose, or never signed to begin with. Some fans think Harbaugh is trying to build a culture in his image, disciplined, safe, controllable. But that doesn't win championships. That doesn't strike fear into opponents. And it's not Baltimore football. Instead, fans are watching Lamar carry this team with very little help. The offensive line? Leaking like a sieve. Lamar's already one of the most sacked QBs in the league, despite missing time. That alone is a massive indictment of the O-line's performance. And don't forget, he's also the most elusive QB in the league. Imagine how bad the numbers would be with someone else under center. And the defense? It's improved, sure, but it's still not dominant. Not yet. There's no consistent pass rush, no identity, and the injuries have drained the depth at key positions. That's why fans are desperate to see a big move up front, someone who can create disruption, not just eat up space. The biggest irony in all of this is that fans still want this team to succeed. They're not rooting for losses just to secure a higher draft pick. They're not interested in tanking. They want wins. They want urgency. They want accountability. And most of all, they want to believe again that this team can do the impossible, that they can flip the script, that they can turn 1-5 into a run that no one saw coming. But if they're going to do that, the clock is ticking. And Eric DeCosta, John Harbaugh, and the rest of the front office need to decide, right now, what kind of team they want this to be. Will they keep playing it safe, betting on long shots, and hoping for the best? Or will they finally take the swing that changes everything? Let me know in the comments, what do you think the Ravens need to do at the trade deadline? Should they go all in? Or is it already too late?